Exploring the unknown, from conspiracies to mysteries, you are entering the conspiracy sector.
Welcome everyone to this very special program. I'm your host, Aubrey Batchelor. Joining me, sailing this divine ship of amazing knowledge, is Chris Jacobs, and you are entering the conspiracy sector. Today, we have a great show planned out for you, a very mysterious show planned out for you that revolves around mysterious codexes, ciphered language, a mysterious book that is yet to be deciphered. There's many theories around and abound with this particular manuscript. In my mind, I believe it's one of the most mysterious books that's ever been written and is still in existence, gratefully. And obviously, there's probably still yet many codexes that lie out there in the realms of attics and buried burials somewhere. There's probably a lot of mysterious codexes and papers and everything of those likes that's still out there yet to be discovered, that's hidden away somewhere, just yet, waiting to be found. And the amazing thing with this Voynich manuscript is the prime topic of today, is that it's being researched almost on a daily basis by somebody somewhere at all times. Online sleuths trying to crack the code to decipher the mysterious language that surrounds this mysterious book. Nobody has been able to crack it. There's been World War II decoders, famous World War II decoders that have cracked almost anything that said, hey, we think it's a hoax. Is that a scapegoat, or is it something, of a more mysterious, supernatural, powerful realm? Is it's a alien book from another? The depictions throughout this book, really show strange things about that we'll get into. There's the theories, obviously, are immense and wide and are 10,000 miles long. But we're going to dive deep into this mysterious manuscript that has literally left many, many people baffled to its origin since it was discovered.
All right.
But yeah, what do you think about that, Chris? You ready to talk about this mysterious Voynich manuscript?
Oh yeah, I've been looking forward to this one. Yeah, I know a little bit about this one as well, but you can get into your part first.
Well, I first came across the Voynich manuscript here about 12 years ago, and I came across it accidentally. And let's just say that it was, you know, to sum it up, all the things that we research in this field, from everything, that list in itself is a million miles long, from UFOs to conspiracies and mysteries and just everything in between. I could literally sit here and list 1,000 things for you if you want me to, but I'm not going to do that. But this Voynich manuscript came into my life at a time when many other things were coming in my life, mysterious things that made me question, uh, a lot of things that are out there, because there's so much to learn. We want, everybody craves knowledge and we want to learn more. And I think that's what attracts us to such mysterious things like the Voynich manuscript. Everybody wants to learn the secret. Everybody wants to learn how to decode that language, a mysterious language that hasn't been deciphered yet. I think that's what thrills and attracts people. And I must say that, it was made for a reason, whether that was a hoax to make a lot of money or if it really is otherworldly plants that could give you, that are the elixir to longevity and superhumanistic life. Who knows, because we haven't cracked that code. There's been ideas and many speculations surrounding this subject, but as you guys will find out, it's going to make your head turn. It's a very attractive subject to kind of delve into and say, I wonder what that person or persons were up to when they were creating this. Let me go down here. Let me get up here.
Yeah, folks, he's going to screen share some shots of the Voynich manuscript so you can see what he's talking about here.
Whoops, let me go to the right one. Excuse me, I'm jumping the gun. I want to talk about the man real quick who kind of came across this, rediscovered it. It's amazing how we label, people with becoming the discoverer, when others had already discovered it, but it's just been forgotten knowledge, and then they rediscovered it. But it's almost like the person who discovers it and makes that subject popular, is the one credited with the discovery, even though it may have been discovered by several hundred people beforehand. That person just brought it into mainstream notoriety, if you will. But let me go to find you a good picture of this man. And after researching this man, he really is Wilfred M. Voynich is his not his real name. I forget what his real name is, but he's the one that's credited with the discovery of the Voynich manuscript. And I believe his life, was a very interesting one. I think he's one of those few people that you can say had a very interesting life, if you get what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But and we'll try to dive on into a little bit of his history here. But to sum it up, he kind of was educated, born into a semi-wealthy family, well educated. He then wanted to become a pharmacist, and while that was good and dandy, he craved more. There was no spring in his step when he was opening up shop each morning to sell elixirs and health potions. But he ended up getting in trouble in some which way, shape, and form, just with kind of judgmental race stuff that's always been going on for as long as history has gone on. And he was kind of persecuted in a way, and kind of on the run back and forth, in dealings with different people, on the run, barely surviving. Then he came across an opportunity to hop onto a job at a bookstore. And he didn't speak English very well, but after he hopped on such said opportunity, he knew that he found his calling in life, per se. And I think he became one of the best antique book dealers of all time. With all of his chaos in between, what led into his book dealing life, that's the thing. He had a very wild, crazy life. I know one of his most famous quotes whenever he was talking to people about his travels: no, sorry, the doggies are just saying, hey, I got to get in on this. No. But Wilfred M. Voynich was a very interesting fellow. And this is the picture to the man. Picture to the man who I just described. Hopefully this is a decent picture for you. Let me go to the website. Hopefully you get a better one. Oh, come on, let's get a picture here. Can you see that, Chris?
I'll move my the image that's on the left here. Yeah, that can be seen.
How about that?
Yeah, it's small, but it can be seen. Yes.
That's a very young picture of Wilfred M. Voynich. That's kind of at the time where he was beginning his book dealing days. And like I said, he didn't speak English very well, so he's wondering if he could make a career out of it. But from his beginning to his end, he ended up speaking 17 or 18 languages. And he said all of them equally bad. But before the dogs interrupted rudely, one of his most other famous quotes was, through his chaotic times of his life, was whenever he would tell his stories and try to impress people and just sharing all of his adventures, he would say, "Here I have a sword, here I have a bullet, and here I have a sword." He'd always say to impress people. So, battle scars and wounds really do create character. And I think they added to his legacy in a way, because it led him into what he was doing as an antique book dealer. It's amazing how life's journey can do that for all of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and telling those stories at that time basically not only helped him get through life, but other people as well at the time.
Yes, you said it right there. And this is let me show you one more image of Wilfred M. Voynich. This is a better one when he was kind of becoming more notoriable throughout the world. He loved to go to Italy and all these different places that would hold on to Greece, hold on to all these ancient scriptures, if you will, and old scriptures of different and texts of different kinds. And he'd go around and collect them and sell them for profit. However, a lot suspect that he might have frauded a lot of people a lot of time because greed got the better part of him throughout his career at times. But very interesting fellow, I must say. Very, very interesting fellow.
I feel with him though, yeah, did I feel he had the opportunity to the feeling I'm getting, he had the opportunity to fraud people, but I don't think with the manuscript itself that he did. He had a very creative mind, but I believe he was also channeling information as well. He was up there, with like what I do or what you can do to an extent, and then other people can do to an extent, channeling and bringing in information even through your own creativity. You can bring in information that way.
You said it correct, just right. And I know that's one of the outstanding theories surrounding the Voynich manuscript as well, is a lot of people that thought there was like trance-like state writing, it was boomed out in a trance-like state event in one, session. But hold on. These dogs driving me nuts. Ace has got to come up here.
Sit on your lap and help.
Yeah. Hello. The cute puppies. Who doesn't love puppies? This better add a couple views, huh? Puppy love. Everybody likes puppies.
You get on camera, yeah.
Yeah, well, you didn't get him on camera.
No, he had to get on camera.
Well, yeah. He had to smile. He's a good boy. But anyhow, we digress. Sorry, folks, but crap happens. Wilfred Voynich, very interesting fellow. I want to give you a little bit about his history. Wilfred Michael Voynich was born on 31 of October, 1865. He was born in the old Russian Empire at the time of his birth, and his birth date, he was normally gave 12th of November. Ancient records for many people are, in speculation, if that, for across timelines, who knows. Nowadays, modern times, we know the exact second that we're born, but in ancient times, was it this year or that year? So who knows? But he was born in that time frame. And he was originally born Michael Hapek Ruonix. I don't know. Apparently, I can't speak other languages very well either.
Well, like you said, all of them bad. So yeah.
Equally bad.
Yeah.
He was a trained pharmacist, like I said, and became a Polish-Lithuanian revolutionary against the Russian Empire. Like I said, there was really. I don't want to digress too much. I'm having troubles putting this into words because chaotic times in our current state of this world are reminding me of chaotic times of past times. And it's just like, how long will it be before that bubble bursts? So, it's
got to hit critical mass at some point here.
And yes. And, critical mass hit his life at this point when he joined that revolutionary group. And, it kind of seems, he was boiling in that pot of water there too. That's why I said he kind of had an interesting life. He'd done a lot in his life, I believe, quite a lot, a lot more than what 95% of us would do. I guarantee that. So that you can kind of look up to the fellow for, I must say, even though he might have been a sleazeball scumbag at times, but who hasn't?
Oh yeah. I feel, despite his shortcomings and everything, I do feel he was bringing in real information about the manuscript. When people see images of this, what is going on with this is, I know for a fact that there are these other like dimensional pockets all over the earth that have copies of whole environments within them, kind of like a dimensional biodome in a way. And sometimes those plants and sometimes those seeds can blow outside of those dimensional areas and come into our world and create new variations of plant and animals, hybrid species and everything. And some of the hybrid animals that people have been finding are sometimes loosely related to this. Like here in Arizona, in one of the channelings I came to find out there's a pocket that exists here where there are fairy and nymph type beings that exist in a pocket, like a group of fairies that are in more of a tribal mode of living. And within there, it stretches all the way from Prescott Valley all the way over to Sedona. And from our perspective, the opening stretches that far. It's more like a crack or like a fissure. And if we saw it visually, and inside that, there's all these different plants, and animals, and different variations of things that we don't necessarily have here. And there's also other pockets around the world where supposedly extinct plants live within some of these dimensional pockets. And also we get other dimensions completely themselves, not just these pockets. We get different stones. Like I found out amethyst is a variation of quartz that came from one of these other dimensional areas from the fusion of different timelines and dimensional barriers and stuff. It compressed the quartz in a certain way and it created amethyst. I came to find that out. So with the Voynich manuscript, some of these things that Voynich was picking up on, even if he was just bringing this up through his imagination, he was picking up on these different variations of things. You don't know how many times I've written what I felt was a fictional story of some kind with certain details, and then later on, closer to now, come to find out there was truth buried in them.
Amazing feeling, isn't it? Amazing feeling.
Where you're picking up on something. To see the imagination center of the brain is the third eye. It's essentially it decodes imagination. What you're picking, whatever you're picking up on, you're decoding it into whatever story format you're writing, or whatever drawing you're drawing, and you're actually adding in variations of truth in there.
Very interesting. You hit a lot of nails on the head that I want to pick up off on. And he was there's many other people surrounding this book other than Wilford that have touched it, obviously. And many of them have speculated, even I forget the exact name of one fellow, but he guarantees that one of the plants in there is a plant that was in Texas, so not too far away from Arizona. Dog A's. No. But, if that's the case, if some of these plants can be identified, well, then that gives you a starting spot to, do some investigative work, which, I'm sure there's many people out there that have done, probably made this book their lives. Obviously, he made it a part of his life, for quite a while. So those people really have a immense knowledge surrounding, such said topic here. And I think their research shouldn't be ignored, so we all figure things out together. That's how you connect the dots and figure out the big picture.
And I found out anywhere that some of these plants from some of these pockets show up in our reality, you could literally trace it back to the edge of one of these pockets, because of course the seeds blow from where the plant first emerged from the barrier or dimensional barrier. And you can always trace it back if you can trace back all the growth from the plants back to a singular point, and you can see where it came from. Like you said, in Texas, more than likely there's some kind of pocket there. I found out there are groups of Native Americans that found their way into some of these pockets as well. So they're more than likely in Texas there's something like that, or an elemental or fae group of some kind is there. I haven't met that particular group yet, but I have a feeling it's a group where some of those plants have stretched into our reality.
And that's one of the outstanding theories too when it comes to the supernatural world, is a lot of people think that it could resemble fairies dancing around and creating this book. But a lot of the mysterious fae-like lore and plant depictions everything along that line. It's very, very amazing to debate and think about, and who knows, really. But to finish up on Wilford just a little bit, then we'll move on. I think everybody kind of has an in-depth view on Wilford. There's other things we want to get to, but I wanted to talk about him because, after all, that's who the manuscript's named after, and he did have a very interesting life. And but inevitably, he never really could crack the code. It was just an amazing book that thrilled him with fantastic intrigue, and he never could crack the code. He obviously tried to sell it for a massive sum, but nobody would want to pay. I think he was asking $100,000 for it, if I remember correctly.
Wow.
And this is back in 1912 to 24, something like that. Let me see. I can't remember when he died. I think he died in like 27 or 32 or something like that. But I know that his wife ended up selling it to a man for $24,000, if I remember correctly, and with the promise that if he sold it for a massive sum, she gets half the profit. Well, inevitably, he ended up piggybacking off of Wilford Voynich and trying to sell it for 100, and I think Wilford was asking 130, then he wanted 160. Okay. And this guy wanted 160,000 in like 1932, if I remember correctly.
That's a lot of money.
At that time, nobody would spend their money on something like that, because of what was going on. And then look at times now. You can compare those times to now too. I'm sorry, I don't mean to take this into a doomsday apocalyptic episode, but take a look around at what's going on. Let's just take example. If gas goes up everywhere for people, if gas has a 300% increase everywhere for people, think about this in every state. I run a carpet cleaning business. A, nobody's going to want to spend their money on carpet cleanings. B, that's only my business. Look at the millions of other businesses that are out there. Mm-hmm. A, I'm only one person that will probably, I don't like to say the word struggle, but survive and thrive and try to overcome everything. And number 4, it's just chaos waiting to happen. Continued chaos, continued division, continued manipulation. It's all a game, and we're all being played. Mm-hmm. And most of us are blind to it. And literally, we are being grabbed, anchored down so much that I don't know how we haven't fell below that murky water yet and utterly all the way to the bottom. But that's coming, I feel, unless if we, not even Americans, the world stands up together and gets it together.
Oh, yeah, and co-create something different. Yeah.
Which is why, hopefully, something like this Voynich manuscript does have an amazing code that's just waiting to be unlocked by us completely ignorant and stupid human beings most of the time.
Now, are you saying Wilford discovered it, or did he write it?
That's what I meant. When I was talking about, there's many people that had their hands on this book, but it was simply, many people were in possession of this book before Wilford Voynich. Mm-hmm. But the real reason he discovered it, because just think, it got tucked away for so long that nobody had their hands on it. And then that's what I'm saying, throughout history. That's why history, what we read, not to do a 1A on the subject, we're interweaving this here. Like what we learn at history in school, it's okay, it's basic, but it's not everything. And just like it when it comes to discoverers, famous discoverers, like Wilford Voynich here. Many people had their hands on the book, but the only reason he's labeled with discovering is because guess what? He brought it out into the mainstream world, just like the news nowadays, and he made it mainstream. So since he made it quote unquote famous, he was the one that was dubbed with discovering it. Everything comes down to kind of, I guess that would be the appropriate word, famous, when it comes down to having a following. I guess he created a following with this book and created the mystique and intrigue surrounding it, which, in a way, I have no problem with it being named after him. I just have a problem with, history teaching us, about certain discoverers when such said objects or whatever it is may have been discovered or were in the possession or hands of many people, possibly hundreds of people before him.
Mhm. Yeah, it could have been
How was
something
it discovered if it was in possession of a, it was
Yeah, they took it
found.
after
It
the
was found.
yeah.
It wasn't discovered.
It was found, and then they named it after the person who found it. Yeah.
Well, and see, here's the interesting thing about where it was found. I think he found out, I think he was searching in Italy, if I remember correctly. And there was an apothecary that had a bunch of books for sale. And he seen a chest. And he opened up this chest, and behold, was this mysterious vellum covered book. And vellum is usually goat or calf skin, so it was a skinned book. And some of the artwork in here is very amazing. Most of the artwork is greens and browns, which suggests that it was earth tone colors. So that suggests somebody that doesn't have a lot of money, because more wealthy people were creating colors, and artists were creating colors with different kinds of stones and precious metals and things of that nature. It wasn't common earth material that they were using. They were using things like I'm having all the like aquamarine, and they're just grinding gemstones and creating colors and powders out of those to use in artwork. But the natural earth could be used by anybody. You can go out and create stuff with it. So it was suggested that it was made by somebody. If it was made by human hands, it was made by somebody that wasn't very wealthy. But could that just be a cover? Who knows? Maybe that just adds to the mystique. That's what makes things so mysterious in this book. I think that, that's what's so intriguing about it. And I would say that this book is in the top 5 of most mysterious things ever written. Even if it is a hoax, it still has created all this confusion. So, I think I think it's one of the top 5 most mysterious books that's ever been blessed to call Earth its home.
And you can actually buy a printed version of it now.
I was looking at that, but a couple of years ago, I was looking at people were wanting like $500-$600 for it.
And also there's also, I believe, some hardcover versions you can buy as well, like regular, like print, like you can buy a regular book online. That started to pop up in places too.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, in 1912, he acquired what became known as the Voynich Manuscript from the Villa Mondragone. Like I said, that was the apothecary. At times claimed to have acquired it from other places, but this may have been to deflect others from his sources of material, because he was very paranoid too. People would come into his shop and he think it was people following him or people wanting, the popular books that he was selling. And I think he came to the belief, if there was one surrounding it, he never did really crack the code or anything, but he believed that Roger Bacon had written the Voynich manuscript, like it says here. And he kind of talked about that in his life. And Roger Bacon's a very interesting fellow too, but a lot of people know a lot about him already. There's Voynich one last time. Say bye-bye. Bye, Wilfred.
Bye.
Thanks for all your work. I think he was an interesting fellow. I really do. And let's go to 2 more interesting fellows I'll just talk about real quick. Here's the 2 hoaxers that are claimed to have maybe sold this to a susceptible king. Edward Kelly, right there. And it's kind of a tiny picture of him, but there's John Dee. Those 2 were a match made in heaven. Let me tell you what, they were 2 swindlers of their time, and that's all I'm going to say. You guys can do more research on them. They're kind of a comedic little duo.
And John Dee was like a court wizard, basically, or court advisor.
Yep. You said it right there. Mm-hmm. Let me go to some pictures. I'm going to show you some actual pictures of the Voynich manuscript. Go ahead, Chris. Do your bidding.
Alrighty. Oh, I thought you were going to show pictures. Okay.
I will here in a bit. I got to refind them. I'm sorry. I had all my tabs ready, but typical Chris and I like that right after I start talking about that dog problem.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever Chris and I get together, I'm not making excuses here, and he can vouch for it. Something always happens to slow us down. I mean, it's inevitable. So just be prepared for it for future episodes. But yeah, like I said, we promised you two things. We promised to give you the best information in the world and entertain you to make your day better. I guess that's three things. But still, with that being said, the dogs are getting out of here.
Yeah. They want to be on camera now. My mother's a dog, Sammy, wouldn't even come close to doing this. He just sits there. But it's like, but Winston, on the other hand, would have had to have wanted to be on camera. But
I hate how little showboat guy.
Yeah, and then this is a very fascinating subject. I think the reason this episode could not have happened before now is because I didn't understand the depth of what dimensional and parallel pockets were, and whereas from our perception they would look like something that is almost like a crack or a dome or something on our landscape, but we could walk through it. You have to be at a certain frequency to walk into that world, and certain plants can hit certain frequencies to where they can pass certain barriers from time to time. And this is more than likely how these plants got outside the barriers. Also, other beings from there could have also spread the plants in the area too for a particular purpose, maybe protection, maybe so that humans could farm it in time and use it for something. Like they were gifting it to us in some fashion, or the earth did it, or the earth just kind of spewed it out from somewhere, from another dimension, and threw it into our reality, with a clashing of different timelines and different universal pockets and everything. There's many of these pockets all over the place. I found out Lemuria and Atlantis are still around, and they exist in these pockets as well. They never really, a version of them never went anywhere. Hyperborea in the Scandinavian world never went anywhere. And other places like some of the fairy pockets that are here in Arizona over into from here in Prescott Valley over to Sedona. My mother years ago saw around the area of Arizona called Secret Mountain, which is about a good hike from here, about 3 hours or so. You think it's close to Sedona, but it's still about 3 hours from where we are. My mother was out there with a friend of hers back in the 90s and saw these little fairies sitting on plants and on the other side of a fence that was in government-controlled territory. And I found out those little fairies came from the edge of that pocket that stretched out that far from here to there.
Yeah. Have you noticed how all the government-controlled territory is always the most mysterious land on Earth, or privately owned territory is the most mysterious land on Earth?
Yeah, what they do is they build facilities around portals when they find them, like old ancient portal sites. One's in the Grand Canyon. Several are also here still in Arizona, like the Grand Canyon and other areas. There's an old Mayan city that's in the Grand Canyon that they're guarding. That's where some of the explorers found treasure in caves going to this. There's an old Mayan city that's buried way back in the Grand Canyon, and partially underground and partially above. And then, but a lot of these government facilities, they build facilities around portals and ancient sites so they can try to access these portals and doorways that are locked into certain parts of the earth and can be open at certain geographic rotations or planetary rotations. That's why the government builds these fences and facilities around these mysterious areas, because they don't want people to access these different mysterious sites. But Secret Mountain in Arizona, the reason I diverged from the Voynich manuscript, I believe it's directly related because it's a concept by which that information was penned from, where a portal doorway brought in like different plants and different things of that nature. That also now some of them, as you said, can be cataloged in our world now. But with the little fairies that my mother saw, I found out there are these little tiny ones about this big. We'd see them. They look like little naked people flying around. And it's like they come in and out of these pockets from time to time. They're called Aluzi fairies. And there's also these large human-sized ones as well that exist in this pocket as well. They're a nature being as well. They look like us, and they've morphed from like an energetic state into a being like ourselves. And also they can have children and everything like ourselves too. And every now and again they'll send one of their people out into the environment, and that's where we get some of people that are related to fairy lines, like in the British Isles. Some people said there were legends of like little green children that they spotted there that they could now, some people can trace their ancestry back to. It's the same concept. And it's the same as the Voynich manuscript, whereas plants made their way out, so did people.
What an amazing, freaky world we live in. I mean, all the strange things that go on in this world, from all the creatures and everything, and when it comes to one of the most mysterious books, like I said, and it's what's not just the book itself, it's what's in the book, like we're getting at, like what he's getting at. It's a combination of all the mysterious things that are in there that really make you question it. And here, I'll show you a few of them. Let me go to screen share.
All right.
In here real quick. I'll just show you. Whoops, let me go. So in the book, there's many sections, and like here, this is just from Vox.com, but it gives you a quick illustration. Voynich manuscript appears to have 7 separate sections. Over time, Voynich enthusiasts have given each section a conventional name. There's a botanical section, an astronomical section, a cosmological section, zodiac section, biological section, pharmaceutical section, and a recipe section. And the biological section is one of the most mysterious that there is. It contains a lot of here you go, boom. Now, if you're listening to this program on your phone, and it's in your pocket or something, a lot of us do that. Here's a good time to get your phone out of your pocket and take a look at a picture if you're not aware of the Voynich and you want a clue on what we're talking about here. This is one of the most mysterious art depictions throughout the Voynich manuscript. And there's many different pages in the Voynich manuscript that have these elaborate network of pipes, different pipes. A lot of people think that some of them resemble body organs or like heart aortas. See how this has certain things, and this might be the heart, and these are the arteries, and just everything, surrounding it might resemble, or there's different theories surrounding all this artwork on what they could be. And a lot of people think that it could be like an organ or something like that with a speculation. But it's all these naked women in like bathing in different pools. Mm-hmm. And see, this one in particular has theorized that it has the Hippocrates, the 4, I forget the exact, sorry, I'm stuttering along. There's so many theories along it. The 4 body fluids, blood, the red, yellow bile, brown bile, and film. So a lot of people think that this is resembling, blood and film and body liquids. So that's why a lot of people think that it could be the heart.
Oh, yeah, it could be the heart, but also, I feel also, well, as I was saying before, where certain beings provided certain genetics to us. I feel this is true of a lot of different alien races as well, where they provided different genetics. And it's not only, I feel, is it like the heart, but it's like basically how did that come into being? And also what I believe this race that's being depicted, these naked ladies that are on here right now, I feel those are like those fairies that I've seen. I've seen these green and purple colored naked ladies that exist in these pockets. And I feel that's encompassing one of these pocket realities. And it's showing also the path that some of this took to come out. Now, this is a bit of galactic history that people don't generally know. Yes, people believe that our genome was tinkered with when we were hominids. But before that, there were many people that existed here that long before what was known as the Orion Wars, before the Archontic forces invaded this solar system, there were people here before. Well, what happened is when the invaders came in, they took the bones of what was in this system and then created what we know of as early hominid species. And so what this is I believe this is a depiction of some of the things that were then later added as these species and these pockets were seeing what was going on. They were helping to add to the human genome. So they're basically showing, okay, we put this one out there. We added to the blood. We added to the blood plasma. We added to a lot of the different organs and stuff like this. Somebody is taking credit for adding some fragments to the human genome, and there are a lot of alien races that consider Earth the grand experiment, and where they've added different codes and codexes to our genome, by which then we generate certain codexes that benefit the rest of the universe. So. Because Earth is on a nexus point and can spread that all over creation. A nexus point is a series of portals. Again, back to portals, back to openings and pockets, and it can spread that information everywhere. So I feel that this, even though this is a depiction, it could be also a depiction of an organ. It's also what added to this and what different substances maybe even drifted out of one of those pockets where those naked ladies stay, and aided people in the process. That's the download I get from that page.
Yeah, very interesting. Very interesting. And like all the different colors too, as well. That goes back to the artwork. The greens and browns, but then here we have some pretty blues and some reds. What are some of the blues? I forget. Am I saying it correctly? Azurite? Is it azurite?
Yeah, azurite. Yeah,
azurite. I think that could possibly, pretty blues. Then maybe that's azurite, possibly.
And also malachite is a greenish blue
malachite.
Well. So yeah, and that's usually mixed sometimes with azurite. So yeah,
and some of these pages you might see some damage out here. A lot of it, like some of these burn drops. A lot of people speculate that these burn drops could be lemon juice drop damage from people trying to find hidden messages. They're trying to find invisible messages, and they use the acid from the lemon burn the pages. And that's the other thing too. Many of the artwork and forms look like they had been done by two different hands as well. Because some of the pictures don't match up throughout the book. Many people speculate even a young Leonardo da Vinci was the mastermind behind the creation of this work. That would be interesting tale as well.
It follows his work, but there's also beings that come from another world that we've spoken about several times. They're a group of dwarves. This goes back to, again, Scandinavian mythology and portals again. The creators of the Bifrost network in this solar system, which they are the dwarves, also the builders of the weapons for the Scandinavian gods. They helped construct some of the portal network here on Earth, and it's self-healing and self-repairing. And the world they come from has a Da Vinci-esque look to it. It has like a steampunk look to it. So do I believe that one of them may have had a hand in originally creating this, either incarnated or otherwise? Yeah, that's a strong possibility. Yeah.
If you guys still have your phone in your pocket, get it out one more time. Here's another image for you, Chris, and everybody out there. This is an interesting one. This, take a look at it real quick and comment down below what you think that this picture looks like. In my mind, I do a lot of gardening, and I think it could be garlic, a radish, turnip, onion. It resembles that, but it also resembles maybe like lettuce or cabbage or collard greens. That's the thing about some of these plants. A lot of these plants look so crazy because a lot of people have speculated that it's a combination of plants. All right. But that looks weird. Possibly it's a combination of plants for a recipe. Maybe that's why all the plants are drawn together. They're morphed into one plant. Maybe it's 3 or 4 separate plants morphed into one picture. But that's the recipe. Use this part of that plant, use this part of that plant, use this part of that plant. That's what I've always speculated with it. And I think that these recipes and depictions are illustrating, or the depictions and are illustrating the the recipes in a way, the ingredients of the recipe.
Mhm.
If you can just decipher this language, which, Chris, I think sometime we should get a replica and maybe spend a good amount of time combining other people's research and see what we can come up with on our own.
Yeah, getting a copy of it and seeing what we can translate from the different languages. Yeah, that could be a part 2 to this episode at some point. Yeah.
It's down the line, but I've always thought about that ever since I came across this topic. Like I said, 12 years ago now, 9 to 12 years ago now. I don't even remember now. It's somewhere in that time frame. But ever since I come across, I've been intrigued by it. And I think that who knows, the more minds, the merrier, and the more likelihood you are of cracking that code, of deciphering this language. Well, look what we did with the Egyptian hieroglyphs. It took time, but they knew what they were talking about, but time made that lost, and we lost that knowledge. But with research and bright minds, we recaptured that knowledge into modern day society. And
Yeah, this may have come from also, I feel, there's so many civilizations that have risen and fallen on this planet that we don't know about, even over hundreds of thousands of years, that I feel some of this information has come from. With that picture you saw, I feel that was like, you could say that was plant genetic research as well, where they were showing the different recipes and combinations that could create a singular plant. You're dealing with also several cultures out there that can and know how to combine different plants into different remedies as a singular growth too. So I feel, something like this is also teaching people how to combine different plants. You can do that even without genetically manipulating anything. You can have different plants together and try to graft one onto another as well. So, I believe that depicts this. Yeah.
That would be amazing. I was just talking about that with a person a few days ago. I've seen a person somewheres in Oregon, I believe, if I remember correctly. He grafted like 7 or 8 different kinds of fruit trees onto one tree, and it's all budding fruit, different kinds of fruit.
Oh, wow.
Amazing. Would that be? So that it's being done in real life. Combination of plants is what I'm getting at. Like you're saying, grafting trees, and just amazing what nature can do, and humans as well. The combination of the two can be amazing, if we do right for the world. But
yeah, I feel like, like say with the negative GMOs that are out right now, that's the poisonous side of it. But there is a good side of it, which is also the tree you were talking about with the different fruits. So there is a positive side to that is not as well focused on, because people are focused on the negative portions of it, the poisonous portions of it. But if you flip it to the positive, you have things like this historically that match up to ideas such as that.
Well, just one more little thing surrounding this. On a stream, where is it at? Oh, right there. So, like I said, here's another person who may have identified one of the plants. Computer scientist Gordon Rugg thinks the whole thing is a hoax, and that the reason no one can decode the manuscript is that there's nothing to decode. Botanist Arthur Tucker thinks it depicts Mexican plants. Physicist Andreas Schinner thinks that it was written by an autistic monk who subconsciously followed a strange mathematical algorithm in his head. And that's where a lot of people think that somebody knocked it out in a translate state, and just amazing everything, all the speculation surrounding it. That's why everything becomes so deep in it. But, maybe everybody's overthinking it. Maybe it's a lot simpler than what we imagine. Watch it just be, I think they said that there's 26 different characters being used in the Voynich manuscript, 26 to 28 different characters being used in the Voynich manuscript. So similar to our alphabet. If you can just understand what it might say and figure out a few words, that might lead to to a higher level of figuring out what everything might be.
See, that
So,
proves from civilizations that have risen and fallen, or have tucked away in a background into a pocket somewhere, or in another dimension somewhere, that that language may have been lost to us, but it's still within the overall benevolent Akashic records that are out there. So it's eventually going to be translated. I feel somebody may have left that there, so we had to learn how to decipher it. It would have brought us to a higher level to actually do it, to accomplish that.
Very interesting. What I must ask, do you want to give me your top 2 or 3 theories of what you think, or who you think created this book?
Well, I feel, if it was done by human hands, either they were channeling it from somewhere. So there's a multitude of theories, and they could all be correct, except for the hoax theory, which is, I believe, disinformation, but that somebody put out there because they didn't want somebody to benefit from what this was, or translate it and find out that it was something really beneficial vibrationally and health-wise. But my theory behind it is based on what I know about a lot of these races out there. That of course it was input into our society either through an incarnated being of some sort or through a channeling, but it came from otherworldly, other dimensional, and I believe that civilization is still watching us now. The one that language is from. I feel that they're watching. That could be in a fairy language, but I also feel that dwarven race I spoke about is also responsible for this as well. I feel it's a mixture of different races that added to this, but it was still penned in more of a fairy tongue. And okay, I'm getting validation after validation for this, because I keep getting this. When I get this jolt up my spine, that usually feel I'm on the right track of it. But my personal opinion is this was information from another dimension, and some of these plants that people that they cataloged were in these other dimensions. Either somebody traveled there physically and saw this and documented it, or they saw it in their head and documented it, and like they bilocated, like what I do, or it came through in some imaginary time while they were sitting in meditation or something like that. Like you were talking about the autistic monk. Autistic people tap into a vibration that some other people don't
understand and don't get. Yeah.
And so that lends to the whole channeling portion of it. But do I feel the origins of it are what I said before, other dimensions and other planets and other races? I feel they contributed to it, yes. Even if it was written by human hands, which obviously it was on vellum. So an alien probably would not have done that themselves on their own planet. They would have left it in stone or in...
Well, they could have abducted a cow and you...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like the world of...
Watch that be the actual truth behind aliens. Had an early cattle abduction event, and they used the skin off of that cow to create the vellum.
Yeah, I don't doubt anything anymore. That's style of... That's also in like a Da Vinci style, which Da Vinci was also from that world where the dwarves came from. They call it the world of wheels because it's all has gear-like shields and stuff around it that travels through space like a spaceship. What happens is they have incarnated brethren here as well to help elevate people's scientific and creative aspects in some ways, and also they're known for gift giving at times as well, kind of like it's where some of the Christmas story came from Santa's elves. It's basically Odin's dwarf helpers. So it came from that, and they're known for gift giving. I feel even though fairies contributed to it with their language, these other people I believe helped gift give it to people either through a channeling with that other group's help, or they helped write it in some fashion. But I feel humans were involved. I feel elementals were involved as well. So I feel this is also part of a galactic database somewhere as well. And they wanted to translate it to humans so humans could benefit from it in some fashion. That's what I feel. Yeah.
I like.
But yeah, we can also bring. I know Isaac's been chomping at the bit to come.
Sure.
So we can bring him in, and then he'll probably say the kind of the same.
Pop on in.
Yeah.
He can end the show.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Get some water real quick because the cottonmouth here. I have to drink a lot of electrolytes now because that's been off. That's what's in the water. It looks like a snow globe.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, it's electrolyte powder I have to put
Oh, wow.
because of see, these energies are throwing people's electrolytes and nutrients off. So you have to constantly put that back.
Replenish.
Yeah, so that's what some of the energies are doing. That's why some people have like almost like a zombified state because it's okay. Isaac, did you want to come through? Yeah, I know. When I ask him, he'll go, "Yes, dipshit," like that. Okay. He seems to be the one that always wants to come on conspiracy sector. Eventually, we're going to probably have others that want to do it too. I'm surprised some of the fairies haven't tried it, but I feel they're watching. It's just that Isaac seems to be the one that wants to be the spokesperson. So it's like, let's see.
Stand out in the crowd.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There are fairies around. I can feel them. Is it one of you that want to talk, or is it just him? But he'll explain it correctly. Okay. All right. Thank you. There's a group of female fairies around too. I can actually see them. They're green, like the page, like that area in the book where it's green with the naked ladies there. That's what they look like, and they live in a lush green-looking area. So that's a true depiction. So that's a physical depiction. Sometimes people, like you said, thought that was symbolic, but that's there's some actual physical things being depicted there. So, okay, ladies, are you sure you don't want to talk? Oh, he still can't. Okay, because you're here. So okay.
Popping through.
But if I can describe them, they are greenish in color. Some have a little bit of purplish. They have no clothes on except like a dress-like thing that kind of goes down the sides a little bit. And they're a local group of like a fairy group that's in this area. So, and they look human. They're like athletic-looking humans, but they're all female. If I could describe them a little bit. And they would blend in well with plants and nature pretty well. So, okay, I think we can do this now. Yes, I know. Why are you over there? And they're over here. Okay, let's see. All right. Why don't you stand with them? Okay, yeah. Okay. He's been doing that a lot, lady. He's made friends all over the galaxy, so some of them don't like him. So it's like, when I say friends, it's like, yeah. So
enemies.
Yeah, in the ancient past and everything too. Some of them think he's an ass sometimes. So, but oh, you guys like him? Okay. All right. Ooh. Okay, Isaac, what's with the big resonance frequency? Is this because the Schumann resonance is off a little? Yeah, it's way up. Okay. All right. In the crystal, please, if you would. Okay. Yes, this manuscript is quite interesting. All the theories that have been presented today are, as you would say, dead on the mark because of its dimensional resonance frequency, along with the language that was said that is in a partial fairy tongue translated into more English phonetics in a way. This is why it cannot necessarily be translated, as it were. It is also depicted in more sound and light frequencies. Also, what was depicted with the combination flower, yes, that was true, you see. That was definitely true where plants were being combined to be more helpful to people. And yes, about the dimensional pockets and other known flowers coming from those areas. Yes, that did indeed happen where some of these beings did gift them to mankind, either through the dwarven people from the world of wheels or different elemental species and other beings within other pockets around the globe. These stretch into other dimensional areas that have a completely different set and unique plant and animal species. Time to time, something escapes or is gifted to the area if humans would benefit from such an interchange. This is what has been said so far as true. Yes, there is a little bit of energetic interference today. This is why there are several distractions, you see, because this particular book, they wished people to believe it a hoax rather than real. And yes, there are channeled aspects to it. and there are imaginary aspects to it. Voynich himself saw the value in this, but others wanted to name it after the one who found it. But like as you said, this is much, much older and has had different data inserted in it over a period of time. You'll find that some of the pages might be slightly newer than others because other people added in their own information as different downloads came in over a period of time. You see, there are addendums to different downloads that can be brought through in such a fashion. It was within a smaller period of time, but it was many years that things were added to that particular book. This is why it has not been readily available to people to purchase at any cheap venue, because of the fact that the cabal and other governmental factions out there already know what this is and what could benefit people. For example, there are flowers and recipes within that could help block some negative entity influences. This is something they do not want out in the mainstream because these things are far stronger than even some of your most powerful sages. So with that said, I can go into questions.
Yes. What do you believe? Who do you believe, or what do you believe created the depictions within this book? They're very beautiful. It's very beautiful artwork, as mysterious as it is. But what do you think? Who do you think created this book?
This is a mixture of things. As I've said, humans did indeed pen a lot of the work, but they were getting it from other worldly beings, either incarnated in human form, or they were channeling through those particular people to depict and draw these different beautiful illustrations, like the depictions of the nearby fairies here within that one page. Yes, does that characterize different human organs and blood types and such? Yes, it does. And does it show that some of the genome came from that particular species? Yes, it does. But this information was being channeled through different humans, more than one, that added to this particular manuscript. It was actually a group of people that were dedicated to finding out this mysterious type of information, and they spoke to some of these other worldly beings. This book is far older than people believe it to be, and you are thinking, if it's on vellum, why and how would it have survived? It was kept in very, very, very low light places and added to over a period of time. It was also taken care of with different additives that were also spoken about within the book, you see. It was taken care of with different liquid additives that made it so that it lasted longer. And yes, did people try to ruin, let's just say, some of the pages with their lemon juice and such? Yes, there are no hidden messages within the vellum themselves. It's all out in the open for people to read when people translate it. But these particular people knew how to read and write that particular set of fairy phonetics, you see, at that particular time. That autistic monk that you spoke of was also an incarnated version of one of these particular council of people. So yes, did he add to this as well in his own way? Yes, he did.
You already took one of my next questions away already. I was going to ask if there's any hidden messages. So never mind about that. You already answered it in relation to those lemon juice drops in an attempt to find those such said messages. But what do you think? Do you think that there's any very powerful recipes that are listed within this book? Or I know that there's a recipe section, but what do you think the most powerful recipe could help humans with, if there is such a thing? That's kind of a big question, but it's a speculative question. But what do you feel as if would be one of the more powerful recipes in this book? What is it trying to give us?
Basically, there is a recipe within there that could cancel out nearly all viral contagions that exist within the world currently at this moment in time. This is also another reason why they are labeling this book a hoax, because they themselves know, the ones causing the disinformation, they themselves know that this particular set of recipes, there are a couple variations in there that would literally cure every viral contagion on the planet, even your common cold. This is also listed within this, you see. If these particular plants were combined, not only would your government try to label it more of a poison, they would basically say it was too dangerous to use, you see. And this would be more of a catch-all or cure-all for, say, certain allergenic reactions, such as yourself at this time. That would get rid of some of these different reactions. And it would also get rid of the common cold. This is something they did not put out. This is one of the more potent recipes that is within that particular book. There are others, of course, that also get rid of dark entities. This other one does work with this. I, at this time, cannot reveal the combination of plants on this particular show. This would have to be translated from the book itself. Once it is done so, and it is out in the open once again, even though technically you can say it is in the Akashic record, but humans in the here and now must rediscover it on a translation basis. If you too eventually get to that point where you are translating it, then so be it. At that time, I will point out that particular recipe and set thereof, but just know that there's also an energy vibration within that book that carries the vibration of that cure-all. It is within the recipes section of the book, and it presents a certain particular combination that would get rid of the common cold itself.
You just answered another one of my questions. I was going to ask if there's any spiritual concoctions in there that might help with, things of that nature, repelling bad energy and increasing good energy and things of that nature. But do you have any final statements you want to make surrounding this book? Anything you want to tell us to get off your tongue surrounding this amazing codex? Do you think that it'll ever be deciphered? Do you think it'll be deciphered in our lifetime? Any other information you want to give surrounding this mysterious codex?
Do I feel it will be translated in your lifetimes? Yes, I do firmly believe this. As this is being translated, there's also a vibration that goes with this, you see, as that language is being translated. Think of back to your Lord of the Rings series, for instance, when your J.R.R. Tolkien created, quote unquote, the fairy language and how it had a power behind it. Even the evil languages of Mordor in the books had different power to them, you see. Within these words, within these phonetics, once they are enunciated properly and once they are written in more of a translated tone, let's just say, they will initiate a vibrational tone that also helps elevate the energy of the user and the translator, you see. This is why it has to be done very, very slowly. This is also a book of spells, as it were, as well. Very much like some of your other books and codexes that exist on both the negative and positive polarities out there. Words are spell, to spell, also to enchant, you see. This is also part of this book, so it helps raise the overall vibration. This is also why your cabal wanted to label it a hoax, because they didn't want people believing in it and finding a way to tap into that vibration from within. This is just another way to separate people from themselves.
Well, thank you, Isaac. Appreciate that information. Very enlightening.
Thank you. It was an honor and pleasure as always. All right.
Howdy. Nice.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's very interesting. I could see in my head, he was showing me different like flower images and stuff really very quickly. Even though he was saying, I won't reveal the formula at this time, he was showing me different flowers. Like he was showing me this red coned like flower concoction. I know comes from another solar system. It comes from another part of space. There was another race on the Galactic Interstellar Council that came in that said there was this vermilion colored like horned flower that had a healing ability that we have here that came from the Cassiopeian star system. So I feel this also depicts some stuff from other star systems as well that have been placed here by aliens too. So that's another thing. And he was showing me that flower and a couple of like different grasses, like different like fern type grasses as well. that were being depicted and combined in that book. So he's going to eventually make me figure it out and try to add stuff to some of my sprays and stuff like that. Because I've been making different alchemical concoctions that I allow the sun and the stars to charge up for different entity repelling, and I've been finding all the different entity repellers that exist and threw them into this formula. And needless to say, that pissed off a bunch of negative entities. So they can't come
high
here.
High activity.
It creates a lot. It basically, it's like it's like the roaches when the lights come on. They just go everywhere when this stuff hits the ground. If it drops on the ground, they're gone. So that's the kind of thing I've been doing. So yeah, he was showing me images of that in my head too.
We could have used some of that spray when we were doing the ghost hunt in Burwell.
That definitely would have helped doing our paranormal research in Burwell and other places. Yeah, that would have definitely helped. But I only recently cracked the code on a few things. So
who knows what type of activity we would have got.
Exactly. We would have gotten a stirring up of a lot of stuff. I know. So you put it on either ends of the house, like on by the doors and windows. It works really well. Wolfsbane is another powerful clearer. That's in the werewolf legends. Wolfsbane and silver. They're trying to outlaw that even as we're speaking. Now, Etsy won't allow people to sell it anymore. And they're trying to actually literally make it illegal to own it. So and it's very powerful. It repels all manner of different beings, even more so than sage does. So
what a world we live in.
Yeah, I thought that was really, really cool. I'm making some even as we speak in the garage. I got like a bunch of Wolfsbane brewing on the shelf out there. So
nice. I had to give it a ring whenever we come see you.
All right.
Well, everybody, we're kind of out of time for this episode, but we appreciate everybody joining us yet again. Sorry for all the interruptions. The doggies, I got a new puppy and it's kind of been crazy trying to train them all. So I want to apologize for all that. It kind of lost trains of thought, but I hope that everybody's been doing well. I hope everybody's healthy, mentally, physically, spiritually. I wish everybody the best. And I want everybody to take this knowledge in this episode. If this intrigues you, do a little bit of research with it. Look into the Voynich manuscript. Perhaps you might even be the one that cracks the code and catapult yourself into the history books. Thanks for joining us, everybody. You are now leaving the conspiracy sector.
Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Have a good week.
Hello. This is something I'd like to add to this conspiracy sector episode. In today's session, I spotted a ring on the person's finger that had the same writing as what is in the Voynich manuscript. And what Aubrey and I were able to determine through Isaac's help was that it was an elven fairy script. Well, this ring was causing a dangerous entanglement on her right hand in that meridian. It was an etheric ring, not a physical one. And it had a flower bloom just like what was shown in the Voynich manuscript. Well, it turned out in a past life, she was one of that council of people that was mentioned by Aubrey, me, and Isaac. It turned out that she volunteered to bring in this information. But in the modern day, this same group has been hijacked. Not the Voynich manuscript itself, but a derivative organization that believes they're getting information from benevolent sources, as well, like with other channelers, of course. And it was really reptilians underground that had a crystal attached to their head. Draconian Orion, but I believe these were a separate group of some sort. They had a different look to them. They had a crystal attached to their forehead and were aiming it upward. I know Draco is said to do that too, and some underground reptilians, but this was a different, like round-headed, like human-looking reptilian or reptoid type group that were kind of greenish purplish looking. Had greenish purplish bluish and yellowish scales, kind of pretty looking, and they had some feathering to them. I believe they were feathered serpents around the neck, but with this horn on their head, this crystal. They were using to project this upward. They were obviously serpents of some kind. They were not benevolent, and it was this place in Ireland I saw that was channeling this information, but they're putting information, they're dedicating it to the record, the historical record, when it's something that probably is some misinformation that is coming through. And I wanted to put that out there. Sorry to this Irish group. I do apologize if you believe you're bringing through something benevolent, and you were linking it to you're part of the old Voynich Manuscript Council that brought the Voynich Manuscript through long before it was called that. I'm sorry, but you're bringing through misinformation at this point. The older information is better. But how the tie is, what became a dangerous entanglement is this. It was then tied to the old agreement that the old incarnation of the group made. And those reptilians saw that as a form of consent. It was past life tied into modern day because it was an oath to bring this information through, which was originally benevolently brought through. But it wasn't maintained properly, and some things changed gradually over a period of time. More than likely, this reptilian group added and subtracted things from the rules, eventually making it untethered or unmaintained. So this is how it currently stands. Voynich Manuscript, great, benevolent, positive, awesome. If you can get a copy of it, which I think they're starting to sell it. I may have been wrong about the Amazon thing. I'll look that up, but I'll look it up soon. And if I find a copy of it, I'll put the link in the description or in the comments, or I'll share the link on Facebook in some capacity. That's what I wanted to add to this, because I know this person would not let me post that part of her read. But I figured I'd just repeat the information on here since it is relevant to the Voynich manuscript. And once that was all discovered, and it was that oath was revoked, since it got tied into the new corruption, it vanished. So I figured I would point that out. It is 12:58 p.m. Tuesday, May 11th, 2021. Thank you.